Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we have quorum present for today's meeting, I'd like to call this meeting of our Hamilton Municipal Heritage Committee to order. Just as a reminder, all electronic devices are to be switched to a non-audible function during our committee meetings. As we go through our roll call, if I can just get you to announce that you're present. Councillor Kretsch.
Present.
Karen Burke.
Present.
Graham Carroll.
Present. Andrew
Douglas.
Present.
Lynn Lundstedt.
Present.
Andy McLaren.
Present.
Stefan Spalnick. Stefan's not here today. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll now move on to our approval of the agenda. May I please have a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda as presented?
I see Graham and Andrew.
Are there any amendments from the committee members today on our agenda?
Yep.
Go ahead, Graham.
I'd like to discuss the Park Street property. I think it's 200 Park Street on the corner of Cannon. It's been recently sold. So like the final date on information. And forget the second update. Okay, thank you.
Is that a property located on the listing?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we can discuss it when we get to that item.
Okay. And just before we move on, Graham, you don't remember what the second item? Okay, no problem. All right. As we move to vote on our agenda, is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, that item is carried. Are there any declarations of interest today? Seeing none, we'll move on to our approval of minutes of the previous meeting. We have before us the meeting notes from May 29th, 2025. May I please have a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes as presented?
I see Andy and Lynn.
Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, that item is carried. Item 7 is our items for information. We have before us 7.1 to 7.8. May I please have a mover and a seconder to receive the items for information?
I see Andrew and Graham.
Is there any discussion on any of the items? Seeing none, we'll move to our vote. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none opposed, that item is carried. We'll now move to our item 8 for items of consideration. 8.1 PED 25149 is a recommendation to designate 104 King Street West, Dundas, the former Dundas Post Office, under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act, Ward 13. We have Meg Oldfield, Cultural Heritage Planner, is here to give us a presentation. Welcome, Meg.
Good afternoon, everyone. Meg Oldfield, Cultural Heritage Planner. Looks like we're sharing. Today I'll be presenting staff report PED 25149, which recommends that the property located at 104 King Street West, Dundas, the former Dundas Post Office, be designated under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act. Not cooperating. Just technical difficulties. One moment. So as you can see, the property is located in Dundas on King Street West between McMurray and Foundry Streets. The property is comprised of a 2.5-story brick and stone building with a 6-story clock tower constructed between 1911 and 1912. The property was first surveyed for a heritage interest in the 1990s. In 2009, the post office was declared surplus by Canada Post and was listed for sale, at which time staff received a request to designate the property. In 2010, the property was added to the Municipal Heritage Register. The Hamilton Municipal Heritage Committee considered a report that recommended that the property be designated in 2011. However, at that time, the decision was made to defer the designation until all work associated with the property's adaptive reuse was completed. That same year, the property was also awarded the Hamilton Municipal Heritage Committee Heritage Property Conservation Award. And then in preparation for this report, staff conducted a site visit to the property in October of 2024 and drafted a statement of cultural heritage value or interest, which is attached as Appendix B to this report. It was determined that the property meets 7 of the 9 criteria contained in Ontario Regulation 906. So I'll now outline the cultural heritage value of this property. The property is comprised, as I mentioned, of a 2.5-story brick and stone building with a 6-story clock tower. The property is a representative example of the Romanesque Revival style of architecture with classical revival influences, and is also a rare surviving example of a post office building with a central clock tower. The property also displays a high degree of craftsmanship in the form of its octagonal roof shingles, copper detailing, which includes the dormers, eave troughs, and downspouts, as well as the English-made clock dials and clock and bell mechanism. The historical value of the property lies in its direct association with early 20th century federal government infrastructure initiatives, including the development of a national mail delivery system, now Canada Post, and the construction of post offices, customs houses, courthouses, and other public buildings in communities across Canada. The property also demonstrates the work and ideas of the Chief Architects Branch of the Department of Public Works and of David Ewart, who served as Chief Dominion Architect at the Department of Public Works between 1896 and 1914. In his role as Chief Dominion Architect, Ewart was responsible for overseeing the design and construction of over 340 public buildings during his tenure, and personally designed a number of prominent Canadian landmarks, including the Connaught Building, the Royal Mint, and the Victoria Memorial Museum, now the Canadian Museum of Nature. The property is also associated with Alfred Wavell Peen, a prominent Hamilton architect who was hired in 1912 to supervise the supplementary work to the building. Peen's most well-known works include the Royal Connaught Hotel and the former Hamilton Public Library, which is now the Ontario Court of Justice. Finally, the property helps define the historic character of King Street West and downtown Dundas, standing out from the surrounding 2- and 2.5-story mixed-use streetscape. The property is physically, visually, and historically linked to its surroundings, sited on its original location, spanning a full block in the midst of downtown. The downtown it was built to serve. Due to its prominent location and distinctive clock tower, the property is considered to be a local landmark. So in summary, 104 King Street West meets 7 of the 9 criteria. It's a representative example of the Romanesque Revival style of architecture with classical revival influences, and is a rare surviving example of a post office building with a central clock tower. It also displays a high degree of craftsmanship. The property is associated with early 20th century federal government infrastructure initiatives, as well as the Chief Architects Branch of the Department of Public Works, Chief Dominion Architect David Ewart, as well as Hamilton Architect Alfred Wavell Peen. The property helps define the historic character of King Street West and downtown Dundas, is visually, historically, and physically linked to its surroundings, and is considered to be a local landmark. This is a condensed version of the Statement of Cultural Heritage Value or Interest, the full version of which can be found in Appendix B of this report. So important to the conservation of 104 King Street West is all elevations and roof lines of the 2.5-story brick and stone building, which includes all the historic elements and decorative details present on those features, including the buff brick facades, the mansard roof, arched window and door openings, central portico, and 6-story clock tower. Also important to the conservation of 104 King Street West is its location fronting onto King Street West and its moderate setback. So staff recommend that the city clerk be directed to give notice of council's intention to designate this property as a property of cultural heritage value under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act. With that being said, are there any questions?
Thank you, Meg, for that great report. I know it's a long time coming, so it's really happy to see this designation coming forward. Do we have any questions for Meg? Go ahead.
Yeah, just more comment. Great report. And as Alyssa says, we are so happy to finally see this one cross. That came to our attention, I think, my first term on the Heritage Committee, and we had like an 800-page chia to go with it. And it's so happy. So I'm so happy now to see it finally getting the nod that it is.
Thank you, Graham. Actually, before we go to any more questions, if I can just get a mover and a seconder to put the report and the presentation on the floor.
I see Graham and Lynn.
Are there any further questions for Meg? Seeing none, if there's no other questions, we'll move to vote. So the vote is to receive the presentation and approve the recommendations that were contained in the report. If there's no further questions, Andy, did you have? Oh, no, okay. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, that item is carried. Great. So I will now turn the chair over to Graham.
Okay, Alyssa, can you please provide an update on item 11.1, the Municipal Heritage Committee's Heritage Recognition Awards from last night?
So our recognition award celebration took place last night at Bridgeworks. It was a fantastic event. We had over 130 people in attendance for the event, so very well turned out, and we had so many award recipients, all very happy. And the best part about our awards is that they can share their stories. So we had the opportunity to hear from so many of them on the work that they put in. And one of the other best parts is people don't realize all the things that are happening in their city. So to be able to see and showcase and understand all of the spectacular things, the collections that people are accumulating to save history, the work that they're doing on their buildings and properties. So it was a really good event. I want to say thank you to all of the volunteers, from our Municipal Heritage Committee members to our Education Working Group, for the work that they put into organizing the event last night. And thank you to staff for all of the support that they gave us throughout the event. So I really do appreciate it. And I know that the property owners and the award recipients really do appreciate it as well. So we're still taking nominations, and we'll continue to do our work for the next awards event. So.
Does anyone have any questions of the presenter?
Through the chair, Ken Coit, Director of Heritage and Urban Design. I just wanted to echo what Chairperson Alyssa's noted, and just say on behalf of staff and from my experience in working at the city as long as I have, you do a wonderful job. It's an amazing volunteer event that you do. So thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, may I have a mover and a seconder to receive this update?
I see Councillor Crutch and Andrew.
Anyone opposed? Didn't think so. So 11.2, Ontario Heritage Conference. Alyssa, can you please provide your update on this item?
Sure. I'll do a quick update, but if any of my colleagues that attended the event want to jump in, please feel free. So we had a very good conference experience, a great way for us to get some continuing education in heritage. Prince Edward County did a fantastic job of hosting the Ontario Heritage Conference. I know, having spoken with the organizers ahead of time, they had their own challenges with being a small community, but they did a fantastic job. And everyone knows that it's a beautiful location, but when you actually have the chance to experience all of the heritage that they have to offer, and we learned everything from rural architecture. They're showcasing chimney swifts and protecting heritage chimneys, looking at their agriculture, looking at their attempt at maintaining Base 31, which was a military base, and how they're using it and repurposing it, their types of adaptive reuse. And we had an excellent time experiencing everything they had to showcase. The other opportunity that we had throughout, and they had many great guest speakers that we could gain information on, and also celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Ontario Heritage Act. But we also had the opportunity while we were there is to actually showcase Hamilton. So we had a display table there, and we actually officially made the announcement that next year Hamilton will be hosting the Ontario Heritage Conference. So we got to welcome all of the delegates from across Ontario to come to Hamilton next year. Just a couple of thank yous that I wanted to thank you to staff for their support, and to our volunteers that were there, but also to Deborah Seabrook, so Manager of Heritage Resource Management, and to Christine Roy from the Tourism Coordinator for Sales and from Tourism Hamilton. They both helped us in preparing to go to the conference, with giving us help with video presentation and with some tourism swag that we could have available for all the delegates there.
Thank you, Alyssa. Anyone else want to make a comment who attended? Lynn?
Yeah, I just want to second that it was an amazing experience. I was actually surprised at the caliber of the speakers, because I had heard from other people sometimes that they weren't quite as great as they were. I was a very interesting speaker the first night on how to market heritage and the different things that they have done to try and showcase their former industries, canning factories, their vineyards, their, the housing and the issues that they've run into. And then, as Alyssa said, just the various venues, because it wasn't all in one spot. It was sort of all around the Picton area, depending on which sessions you went to. Stained glass, secret societies in stained glass. And I found it very helpful to gain some knowledge and gain more information and network. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to attend. So thank you.
Thank you. Andy, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say how excited I was to see that Hamilton will be the next city and very excited to be part of it. Hopefully I'd like to put my name in for the the organizing committee as well. But yeah, very excited about that.
Okay, thank you. And I'd also like to make a couple of comments. There was a lot of excitement from people who want to come to Hamilton, have never been here before. So that was a definite positive. Plus, people were saying that the municipalities around us that don't send their members up there will probably send them to here. And other committees were saying they'll probably send larger quantities. So I think we're going to get a bigger turnout than we fully expect at our Heritage Conference. I think we're going to up our game a little bit. And it was a truly wonderful experience. And the heritage in Picton, the built heritage, is just phenomenal. It really is surprising. So it was good to learn. And the marketing, your heritage on that first night was very good. Just what he was talking about. And then he also talked about his 1893 graveyard, was it? Something like that. And how they've turned it over from a money-losing operation into self-sustaining operation. And it was quite amazing, the story on that.
And actually, I'll just add one more thing. The other thing that they did really well at showcasing was how their developers within the county are taking on heritage properties with their adaptive reuse. And it's really sort of those big dreamers, their dreams are actually coming to fruition. So Base 31, the gentleman that spoke at the dinner, to see what it started as and the dream that they had for this space and how it could be used, and then how it's been embraced by the community and what they've been able to make it. And it's not all done at once, it's still work in progress, but that really is a driving tourism spot for the county, as well as some of the session that took place in Belleville, and a brother and sister development team that have taken on the old hockey arena, adaptively reusing it to a multi-retail space and eventually an event space. So just seeing how if a municipality can encourage and support development teams that have some vision, that we can maintain our heritage properties and not lose them and just find new life for them in the future. So they did a great job of showing that.
Any more questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a mover and a seconder to receive the update?
I see Andy and Karen.
Okay, is there anyone opposed to accepting this update? Seeing none, it passes and the hammer's back.
Thank you, Graham. We'll now move on to item 11.3, which is the Heritage Buildings and Landscape Watch List. Are there any additions to the list before we move forward for reports? Are there any properties that anyone would like to remove? Do we have anyone that wants to give property updates? Councillor Cratch?
It's more of a question than an update. I know Stefan's not here and is the person who's kind of monitoring Hanrahan's, but my understanding is that that property specifically at 91 or 92 Barton Street West, I think, if I have it correctly, is the east.
So the address is 80 to 92 Barton Street East.
East, thank you.
Yeah.
Has some issues with the windows. I'm just wondering what the process is there. Like, I know they were out for a long time, and so we know that water is culprit in terms of keeping buildings from deteriorating further. We don't want to have water getting into them. There's some windows that are exposed. Like, what do we do in situations like this? We obviously encourage the person property owner to do so. Have we put in a request to them? Are there any property standards orders? What do we know about it?
Ken Coit, Director of Heritage and Urban Design, through the chair. Councillor, I'm not sure if that was on one of the 22 lists that we talked about at the last meeting. I will bring it to the attention of the team in bylaw and building that are looking at vacant buildings right away. I have another one from Ancaster as well, so I'll send that email today and CC you, and hopefully they'll put it on their list. If it already is, then I'll provide you an update.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And sorry not to be here at the last meeting, which is where I may have missed that. There was something else I wanted to do, is add an item to the building list. Unfortunately, my email is not cooperating entirely as I'd wish, and so I don't remember the exact address, but it's at the corner of Walnut and Augusta. So there's an old kind of warehouse there. This is really technically proficient of me, I realize. There's a kind of warehouse there at the corner of Walnut and Augusta. You'll remember it as famously the place that said, buy a condo here for $99,000. That sign eventually did come down, but it's right against the rail line, right across from Shamrock Park. I think it's a designated heritage asset. I went back and forth with Ken on this a bit by email, but I don't think it's on the list. It's kind of sat there with, for some time with no windows. It's got a fence around it. I'm also just concerned about it as well. It's a property that was owned by someone who had an intention to do something with it. Unfortunately, I believe they passed away. Then there was an inheritance or whatever to the next person, and there's something going on there, but I'm not sure. Anyways, Ken could maybe assist me here. Thanks, Ken.
Through the chair, the address is 124 Walnut Street South.
Right, and I don't think it's necessarily going to fall down, but I don't know what the status of that building is. It's been sitting without windows for all my time in Hamilton. So I'm not sure what category of the list it should go onto. That's not really something I understand completely as well as everybody who might have been here longer. Endangered, I'm not sure if it's endangered. I don't think it will remain when a project moves forward, but I think it should still be looked at in case there's any kind of issue with it.
Through the chair, it is on the heritage inventory. So we could probably include it as an endangered building in the short term, and I will follow up with bylaw and building to put it on their list for an inspection.
Thank you very much.
Councillor, would you like to add it to the list as yellow, maybe? That's
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, thank you.
So that was moved by Councillor Crutch, seconded by Graham to add the property.
Is there anyone opposed to adding that property? Seeing none, that item is carried. Did we have any other updates or questions? I think Graham, you wanted to.
Okay, so Karen, have a question too?
I have an update.
Look, hold first.
Okay, Karen, you go ahead with your update first, and then we'll do Graham's question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I have two updates on properties that I've been monitoring. They're both in the yellow category. So just buildings of interest, not an immediate threat. The first one is the 64 Hat Street, Dundas, which is the former Valley City Manufacturing. There has been a sign up for quite a while about application for rezoning, and it appears there actually is going to be a meeting now so it's scheduled for July 8th, according to the sign, and that is to have a zoning bylaw amendment from general industrial, which it is currently, to mixed use medium density. So if anyone's interested, it appears that meeting is going ahead, and it's for adaptive reuse purposes. I know they've been years to do some major changes to that property, so maybe it's going to go ahead. That would be great. And then the second update I have is for Grace Valley, the former Knox Presbyterian in Dundas, and that's a designated building. And I noticed when I went by the other day that they were actually doing re-shingling. And since it's designated, I wasn't certain whether it needed to come to the Heritage Permit Review Committee and with staff, and I was informed that because they're doing like for like asphalt shingles to asphalt shingles, similar color, that it didn't actually need a heritage permit, but I was pleased to see that the Grace Valley did consult with heritage staff and ask them about that, whether it needed a permit or not. So two things that are good. One is that they actually came to ask heritage staff, and the second thing that they're taking the building, it appears. So those are my two updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. So Graham, did you have your question?
Okay, this is about, again, 120 Park Street North. The building has sat empty for a long time, no windows, that kind of problem. Robin used to report on it. And now I hear it's sold. So I wonder if you've heard any plans or if anyone's approached you, what's going on there?
Through the chair, I'm not personally aware. I don't know if there's been a committee of adjustment or anything that's come through from a commenting perspective for that. No, so we have no applications or anything in on it.
And I just remembered the other one, which is luckily on the list, St. Paul's Church with the sale of the Sunday school behind it on James Street North, James Street South. Have you heard any updates or what's going on with that?
Through the chair, we had some general inquiries about it about a year and a half ago. They were referred to the Ontario Heritage Trust because St. Paul's has got an easement. Since then, there's been no applications or we've had no other further inquiries.
Do you know if that heritage easement extends to the Sunday school?
Through the chair, I believe it does, but I'd have to look into the details to be certain.
Are there any other updates or comments? Seeing none, may I have a mover and a seconder to receive the updates?
I see Karen and Graham.
And as we move to vote, is there anyone opposed to receiving? Seeing none, that item is carried. We'll now move on to see if there's any updates from staff.
Through the chair, Ken Coit, Director of Heritage and Urban Design. Just an FYI that the Philpott Church report, which this committee voted to designate the building, it will be back before Planning Committee on July the 9th or 8th. Oops, I forget which day it is. So that report will become public next week. So just...
Thank you, Ken. And there's no other updates from staff. I think just one last item just wanted to highlight before we go is I just wanted to extend congratulations to our Heritage Committee member, Lynn Lundstead. She is the newest recipient of the King Charles Medal. She received that last week. So we wanted to extend congratulations to you, Lynn. Well deserved. If there's no other business, as we move to adjourn, I would like to adjourn the Hamilton Municipal Heritage Committee at 12:28. Our next meeting will be July 25th, 2025 at 12 noon. We'll see everyone then. Thanks, everyone.